This is proper training in Vedic culture. To be trained how to be detached and to be trained how to appreciate and enjoy simplicity in life. Our own Guru Maharaj, you know how simple he was when he was living in Vrindavan. You have seen the rooms of Radha Damodar temple. And of course, what we see now, they have been renovated. When he was there, they were very, very simple. Just little clay hut rooms. And he had to go to Jamuna to get his water every day. And then when he went to America, he was living very, very simple life. He didn't even know where the next food would come from one day to another. There was no security. There was no insurance in his life. He did not know whether food would come or not come from one day to the next. He was not standing on the side of the road asking for bakshish to feed himself. He was simply preaching, and if Krishna sends, I'll eat. If he doesn't send, then why should I want to eat? Such a simple life. And then, some years later, because of his empowered devotional service, and by the divine grace of his Guru Maharaj, he had a worldwide movement. And his devotees, they were making lakhs and lakhs of rupees a day all over the world. They were printing the most first-class books. They were opening over 108 temples, big, beautiful churches in Toronto, beautiful stone church, so costly we cannot even comprehend. In Los Angeles, big, beautiful estate. In London, a mansion with gardens all around. And then, of course, Bombay, Vrindavan, Mayapur. There were big castles bought for him in France and in Germany. And wherever he went, every devotee just offered him everything. One time he came to the airport and the devotees, they rented a beautiful brand new Rolls Royce, pick him up and drive him from the airport to the temple. And it was all decorated with flowers and incense. Even the wealthiest materialist does not have such luxuries as what Prabhupada was being given. You know, the wealthy materialists, when they come to the airport, they may have a Rolls Royce, but they don't have thousands of people chanting their holy names, giving him garlands and giving him love and devotion and beautiful facilities. So he drove back in the Rolls Royce to the temple, and there were all sorts of devotees waiting for him and all sorts of guests. And he could see that the guests, they could not understand. What is this man driving in Rolls Royce? A rich man, when he eats, how many? They might cook him 15, 20 preparations. When Prabhupada arrived at this temple, they had 108 preparations, all cooked in ghee. What wealthy man gets that treatment? And he just took a piece of an apple, said, distributed. And they were all served to him in silver plates. And he was looking at the guests. They could not understand this man. He's being put on a vyasasana, a beautiful seat that nobody else is allowed to sit on. You know, even the wealthiest man, his children will jump on his chair when he's not home, right? But Prabhupada had his own seat that nobody else was allowed. And somebody asked him, you're teaching renunciation, but why you were driven here in a Rolls Royce? He said, because I am just the representative of God, and whatever they are offering to God. He said, what can you offer too good for God? He said, if it was a solid gold Rolls Royce, it would not be good enough. So this is how he accepted on behalf of Krishna. But himself, as soon as all those things were done, he would just sit on the floor. As soon as he accepted all these things for Krishna and gave them to Krishna on behalf of his disciples, he would just sit on the floor. And he would, do you remember those little clay rooms in Radha Damodar? I am simply longing to be back there. Whether he had everything or whether he had nothing, it meant nothing to him. He was simply content thinking of Krishna, serving Krishna, and preaching Krishna's message. He didn't need anything else. He was so simple. When he would come to India, he said, in India, these things we should not have. He would just sleep on a little rope bed and be happy. He didn't want anything else. So this is Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kangshati samasarvesha bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. One who enjoys the bliss of Brahman. He is always engaged in loving devotional service. He's so satisfied with that service that such a person hankers for nothing he does not have, nor does he lament for anything he loses. And even Lord Brahma, He's living in Brahmaloka, performing his ministerial affairs as the most prestigious and highest person in the universe. But he was most blissful when he was able to become Haridas Thakur. And he was living in a cave with poisonous snakes. The same Lord Brahma. He was perfectly happy. If Krishna wants me to be Brahma, living in the most beautiful palace in all of creation, or if he wants me living in this cave with snakes, wearing a loincloth, doesn't make any difference. Whatever Krishna wants, that's perfect. As long as I have his service, as long as I'm remembering him and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, then I am satisfied. Then I have everything. Such a perfect example. Such a realization. As Srila Prabhupada used to say, if you are living under a tree and you're asked to live in a palace, it's Maya to be attached to your tree. And if you're living in a palace and you're asked to live under a tree, then it's Maya to be attached to your palace. We should simply be attached to Krishna. And whatever facilities we have, we use it for Krishna. But whether we have it, whether we lose it, really isn't very important. What's important is that we're serving Krishna, we're remembering Krishna. That is real satisfaction. That is the substance of spiritual life, devotional service.
You were listening to Radhanath Swami on devotionalnectar.com.